What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today I wanted to talk about the question, is Infinite Warfare objectively a bad Call of Duty game? If you go and watch basically any Infinite Warfare video on YouTube, you'll be bound to find a comment somewhere calling this game trash, calling this game garbage, saying this is the worst Call of Duty game ever made. So today I want to also look at whether or not that is justified hate, or if it's primarily just a bandwagon effect. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so right at the beginning here, just wanted to be very clear, this question is Infinite Warfare objectively, that's the key word here, a bad Call of Duty game, like a lot of people seem to be stating. There's a ton of people that are just stating, this game is trash, this game is garbage. Not, I don't like this game, or this game isn't for me, or I didn't like this element, or I didn't like that element. According to a lot of the hate that you see, I would say most of the hate that you see for this game, it is objectively a bad game. Now, for those of you guys that watch my channel on a regular basis, you'll know my answer to this. I do not think Infinite Warfare is a bad game at all. I think this game has excellent gameplay mechanics, it plays very well, it runs very smooth, and I would say it has no bigger or no more issues than any previous Call of Duty game that I can remember. So has Infinite Warfare had its issues, and does it still have some issues? Of course. Every single game out there has its issues and has had issues coming through the life cycle. This doesn't make the game as a whole instantly a bad game. So yes, when the game first launched, it was missing some features that we expected as a community. We expected to see a combat record, we expected leaderboards, we expected a custom emblem editor. And at launch and for the first few months, we didn't have those things. So at the time, I definitely understood some of the criticism for the game. That was something that we expected as a community, and it simply wasn't there. But also, it didn't affect gameplay at all, and now either way, it has been added into the game quite a long time ago, so that point doesn't really hold any weight anymore, it just did at the beginning of the game's life cycle. The next thing that people often bring up is the connection issues. It's all about lag and packet loss and everything like that with Infinite Warfare. It seems a lot of people look at previous Call of Duty games with rose-tinted glasses. We always remember the good games that we had back in the day. When we think about older Call of Duty games, we think about that one game we had where we dropped a nuke or we did something amazing and it was so great and the game just felt amazing and everything like that. It seems like we often forget what the average game was like or what the really bad games were like when we played those older COD games. Connection issues, latency, lag, packet loss, all that kind of stuff, that has been present in every single Call of Duty game. And I would say Infinite Warfare is no worse than the previous Call of Duty games. Now obviously I can't speak to everyone's experience, everybody's on a different network, everybody has a different connection experience, so I can't just say that my connection experience doesn't feel any different and therefore your connection experience doesn't feel any different. But generally Infinite Warfare runs on the same system as the previous 3 or 4 Call of Duty games. Since COD Ghosts, we've been using that hybrid system where it tries to put you on a dedicated server, and generally it is going to put most people on dedicated servers, but a lot of times, depending on your location and depending on several other factors, it will fall back on peer-to-peer. As for gameplay elements themselves, this is the area where it starts to get difficult to look at things objectively. People have their preferences, people have their opinions, and it's really hard to separate that and be objective about gameplay elements, but I'm going to try here. One of the things I hear, generally from people that don't have very much experience with the game or very much knowledge of the stats of the guns in the game, is that the gun balance is the worst that Call of Duty has ever seen, or the gun balance is just terrible in general for Infinite Warfare. This is something that, at least for core game modes, which is what the majority of the population plays, is just straight up false. If you look at the weapon statistics, all of the guns fall within a certain range as far as time to kill goes, as far as their handling attributes. They all have pros and cons to them. And if you take an objective look at all of the guns in the game, yes, you're going to find that some end up being top tier and some end up being lower tier, but the gap between the top tier and the lower tier weapons is quite small. It's actually quite funny. If you happen to miss the video I made, I think it was a couple weeks ago now, talking about overpowered guns in Infinite Warfare, I asked the people watching that video to tell me what they think was an overpowered gun, and nearly every gun in the game was listed somewhere in the comment section where people legitimately thought that that particular gun was overpowered. If nearly every gun in the game is an overpowered gun, you have weapon balance. The success you find with a gun depends on your playstyle, depends on your preferences, and depends on how you use that gun. The gun balance in Infinite Warfare is objectively good. Is it absolutely perfect? I would say no. There is room for improvement, and there always will be with pretty much any first-person shooter out there. There's always room for tweaking certain things, but there are no significant outliers when it comes to balance in Infinite Warfare. To take this one step further, I often see complaints about the fact that Infinite Warfare has variants. Again, most of these complaints come from people that either don't have any experience with the game at all and have never even touched it, or they have very limited experience with the game. The variant system in Infinite Warfare is a huge step forward from the supply drop system of Black Ops 3. The variants in this game for all of the base weapons are craftable. If you want it, you can get it just by playing the game. You don't have to buy any COD points, you don't have to get lucky and get them out of supply drops. You simply put the time in, gain your salvage by playing, and then craft the variant that you want. In addition to this, most of the variants in the game, all they're giving you is like half of an attachment, or just some quirky perk that will help you in some very specific situations, but it's not like it's helping you win gunfights every single time you get into a gunfight. The simple fact is, in Infinite Warfare, you can give one player the base version of the gun, no variant of that gun, and give another player any one of the variants he chooses of that same gun. The more skilled player, regardless of which one of those players it is going to be coming out on top more often than not. It doesn't matter if they have the base gun or a variant of that gun, they're still going to be coming out on top over the other player. In addition to all of this, like I was saying earlier, this is a huge step forward from Black Ops 3's system, and a lot of the times the people that are complaining about the variant system and supply drops are the same people that hold Black Ops 3 as like the best thing ever. And don't get me wrong, I love Black Ops 3. I would still say Black Ops 3 is one of my favorite Call of Duty games to date. But I absolutely hate their supply drop system. Even now, they're still releasing new guns, and I know I will never see those new guns. I'll never actually get to use those new guns. There's no chance, there's no hope for me. In Infinite Warfare, when they release new guns, I know that I'm guaranteed to get the base version of those guns at the very least. So sure, somebody might get a variant of that gun that gives them a little bit of a leg up or a couple little interesting perks with that gun, but I'm not being denied that experience of using that gun. So I think right about here, it's a good time to answer the question, is Infinite Warfare objectively a bad game? All I can say is, I haven't heard any compelling evidence so far to suggest that this is objectively a bad Call of Duty game. Like I said, it's got its problems, just like every other Call of Duty game in the past. I don't think there are any more or any larger issues in Infinite Warfare than in previous COD games. So is the hate for this game justified, or is it just a bandwagon? Well, honestly, I think there are two groups of people that fall into the haters of Infinite Warfare. The first group I have absolutely no problem with whatsoever. These are the people that have given the game an honest go, they've played the game, they've tried to keep an open mind with it, and they simply don't like it. It doesn't suit their preferences, maybe they don't like advanced movement, maybe they just don't like the map design of the game, maybe they don't like the combat rigs or the setting, whatever it might be, the game doesn't suit their preferences and it's bad for them. I have no problem whatsoever and I completely respect these opinions as long as they are stated as opinions. As soon as you start stating it as a fact that it's a bad game because you don't like the maps or because you don't like the futuristic setting or you don't like the movement system, that's when we start to have a problem. The second group of people, and I feel this is the majority that's going around online and really spreading that hate and pushing that hate and constantly calling the game trash and everything like that, are the bandwagon haters. Most of these people, if you can actually engage in a conversation with them, which I've been trying to do lately actually, I've been trying to get some honest opinion from these people, it seems most of them either have very little or literally zero experience actually playing the game. They hate on the game because it's the cool thing to do or because their favorite YouTuber hates on the game, so they want to be just like them. I have yet to run into one of these guys that has logical, objective reasoning for why it's a fact that Infinite Warfare is a bad game. They just say, no, your opinion doesn't matter, this is a fact that it's bad, and they don't have anything to back that up with besides their opinions. And I think it's really unfortunate that Infinite Warfare ran into this year. I honestly think that the statement that Eric Hirschberg made a little while back was totally accurate. Infinite Warfare was a great game, it just launched at the wrong time. If Infinite Warfare launched instead of Ghosts back in the day, I think it would have been very well received. Or even if it was launched before Black Ops 3 was launched, I think it would have been well received as well. Part of the issue and part of what drives this hate for this game is I feel a lot of people are just burnt out on this advanced movement. And that I can totally understand. There are lots of people out there that simply dislike advanced movement, and that's totally fine. Even as somebody that loves advanced movement, I'm really looking forward to going back to boots on the ground this year just for a change of pace. it is starting to get a little bit old, always having that advanced movement over and over and over again, and I am kind of ready to go back to that boots on the ground feel, as long as it's not permanent. I do hope we see more advanced movement Call of Duties in the future, but that's just my opinion. And with that, I think we're going to wrap up today's video. I'd like to know in the comment section below from a couple different groups. So first off, if you managed to stick through this whole video and you're somebody that thinks Infinite Warfare is objectively a bad Call of Duty game, please let me know. Type out a long paragraph if you can. Like, I want to see some good objective reasoning for why it's a bad game. I've been trying to engage with people that have been making these claims, and I have yet to come across one that wasn't either misinformed due to lack of experience or completely just opinion-based and then they're claiming their opinions as fact. If you have some completely objective evidence for why Infinite Warfare is a bad Call of Duty game, please let me know in the comment section below. I'm actually interested in hearing that, and I would love to start a discussion about that. Also, from anyone else, I'd like to know in the comment section below, do you think the hate for Infinite Warfare was primarily driven by the bandwagon, or do you think it's primarily people that gave the game an honest shot and simply dislike it? If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.